All right, good morning, traders. Today is Tuesday, the 28th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. All right, well, I got a totally different setup here today on a new computer, so things will be a little funky, and I'll have to make a few little changes. First and foremost, I don't have the cards that I normally put at the bottom of the screen. Unfortunately, I don't have those here, but we can make do without them for today. All right, so what are we looking at? Well, the market got its Santa rally, started on the 21st, and got that Santa rally, got us to new all-time highs yesterday. And at the moment, the momentum seems to be intact, right? When these momentum traders, when they take charge of the market, it can often shock you how far they can push the market. The last time we did this, the last time we had a big pullback from all-time highs, we finally got that breakout with excess, got above those all-time highs. Look at what happened day after day after day. The market continued to push higher and higher and higher for a couple of weeks from there. So I'm not necessarily saying I think that's what's going to happen, but just to be aware, it certainly can. Once momentum takes charge of the market, they can push it really, really far. All right, so let's step in and take a look at the profile. So yesterday, obviously an elongated profile. We got lots of single prints we left behind in the B period and the F period. Looks like we left some behind there as well. So we'll be looking for the market to try to backfill some of this yesterday. Some of this from yesterday. Okay, the market is open. So the first order of business as we gapped higher is a gap fill, meaning the market pulls back down to yesterday's high at 47.8350. We look for support right around that area. It doesn't have to be the high exactly to the tick, but just around that general area. It could be this little node of volume around 47.80 down here. And if we find support there, that is bullish for continuation higher. That's what we call a gap and go. Whereas if the market trades down to the gap and it can't find support and it continues lower, particularly below this node from the overnight in here, around like 72 to 75-ish. If the market trades down and can't find support in here, you're looking at a larger pullback to backfill the single prints, either in the F period, which would get us down to about 62, if not from the B period, which should get us down to about 47. Looking for support there. Cotton Dog, do I have a cold? No, I do not. This is how I sound when I'm healthy and normal. Oh boy. David Glass, good morning to you. Happy holidays. John Q, can you hear me? Is the question. Diego, good to see you. Welcome. Scooball, hello to you. J Trader, welcome. Cotton Dog, a gap and go goes back to close the overnight gap, or doesn't and just keeps going, question mark? That is correct. Yeah, so the gap is, we consider the gap to the previous high, the high of the previous day, not to the closing price, although they're right next to each other here. So if the market opens above that level, coming down and finding support anywhere between the high or right around the high any of those scenarios is considered a gap and go. So we've still got a tick or so left here we need to backfill. But if they weren't going to do that, if they just immediately started to trade higher, that would be bullish as a gap and go. Or if they pulled back down into here, found some support, and then went, also bullish. Miles, good morning to you. Welcome. River Rock in the house. Good morning. Big Ray, good morning to you from North Carolina. Good to have you. And Henry is here. Good morning to you. Please smash that like button. Let's get those likes going to get that algorithm going once again. Always punishes YouTubers for taking a break. So far, it's a gap and go with good taper on the low, which is bullish. Let's see if it can stay above the opening price here. Get those ticks to stay above the zero line. Cotton Dog, welcome back. Hope I had a good time visiting family. I did have a good time visiting family, but I spilled coffee all over my computer, which was a nightmare. Not a fun Christmas surprise, but that's okay. I've been needing to buy a second computer anyway for the live streams, so now I done did it. And Donkey, I don't know how you can tell that I bought a PC, but I did. Mackie Maxwell, welcome back after Coffee Incidents 2021. John Q. Yeah, you know you're old school if you remember the Windows activation. You're an OG. Miles, 45-degree line in the overnight. Yeah, I would go for that. It's not perfect, but sure. So to measure a 45-degree line, essentially what you're looking for is it starts right from the low of the day, if it's going to be the 45 at the low, and right from the high. We actually kind of have one at the high as well. Right there. And so when you create that 45-degree angle on the lows of the overnight or at the highs, it just means that it will act as very strong support or resistance. So we should, if the market fills the gap and starts to trade in here, we should find support somewhere within that 45-degree angle and trade higher. It just increases the odds slightly of support there. And then, of course, resistance for the 45 at the high. Good times. NQ not bullish? Question mark. I would describe the NQ as still pretty bullish. They did get below those overnight lows. I would say keep an eye on the like 16,518 to 520 area in here for support. You got this node over here of cumulative volume right in this area. So you look for support in here. If it can hold, it can continue back up towards the opening price. If not, you're looking to start backfilling the single prints you left behind down to 16,441 would be the next target to the downside. And if that doesn't hold, the high from the 23rd or the area kind of around it. So that's going to be like 16,350 to 370. All right, so the gap is filled on the ES, and we're looking for that support here. Same as with the NQ, talking about that particular level. If this 45-degree angle, if the low there can't hold, I'd be looking for a larger pullback in the ES. So if, let's say, get below 47.74, you're looking to head down to backfill at least 63. And if no support there, down at 46.50. All right, well, that happened pretty quick, but we just got the gap fill, which instantly found support. We got good taper on the low. We're back above the opening price. We got good internals across the board. So I don't have the little things to put up on the bottom of my screen, but if I did, I would say the market feels bullish here. I'd be looking to go long as long as the market stays above yesterday's high for continuation of the trend. So if it's going to hold, we should stay above the 0 line now on the ticks for both indices. And when we pull back into that support, right around halfback where we are now, 85 to 87, this area, we would expect that to hold as well if we're going to start trending higher here. Cotton Dog asks, Charles, do you end your regular trading hours at 4 p.m. or 4:15 Eastern? I do 4 p.m. There's nothing wrong with doing 4:15. And I have noticed a few times that I kind of wished I did 4:15 because of the way a spike at the end of the day will play out. But it's literally only happened like a couple of times. So I'm pretty happy with just using 4 p.m. to keep it simple. Right when that closing bell rings, that's when my profile closes, and I consider everything after that part of the overnight. But I don't hold it against anyone that wants to use that 15 minutes as part of regular trading hours. To each their own. All right, well, the bulls are holding on by the skin of their teeth. They're holding on to this. So can they keep the ticks up here and get another push? Make some new all-time highs? Very possible. Like I said, there should be some resistance in the 45-degree angle down of the overnight here. But if we can get through it, new all-time highs are in range. Wheel. The wheel of time high. Cotton Dog asks, can you have a look above and fail from a fail all in a night session or too small or too insignificant of a time period to consider having a look above and fail? Can you have a look above and fail? Look above and fail is a specific sort of phenomenon in the market that's explaining like if the market is balancing in a certain area. So if it's grinding around in a certain range, when it gets above that range, is that a successful breakout? Does the market want to keep going higher, or was that a failed breakout where it looked above and then it immediately started to trade back into the range? So you could think about it as well with like all-time highs, looking into a new all-time high and pulling back down. It's kind of like a look above and fail. But to me, there's nothing bearish about the overnight last night. They did a great job. They built in most of their support and volume above yesterday's price. It was right at the closing price of yesterday, and all the way up here at the all-time highs. So this overnight market seems bullish to me. It seems like momentum is in charge of the market. But we're not seeing a ton of exuberance in that this morning. So it may be coming to an end. But I do think momentum is in charge. And we don't want to fight momentum. Amir, is the initial balance period still considered a time for locals, floor traders? I'm not sure how to answer that. I would say that first hour of the day is definitely when the most participants are trading, right? There's a lot of people that just trade that first hour. And that's also where a lot of the larger players are repositioning themselves. They made decisions at the end of the day yesterday, and so they're kind of like repositioning themselves first thing in the morning. So I would say the first hour of the day has the most volume and gives you the best insights for the rest of the day. But not because it's smaller traders or anything like that. Cotton Dog, I was just concerned because it looked like we were having trouble getting back into the upper distribution of the overnight. Yeah, just took some grinding, took some work to get up in there. But so far, so good. They found support exactly at yesterday's high, which is bullish. They made good taper on the low, which is bullish. So it looks like they want to make new all-time highs here today. That seems to be the plan. Let's go take a look at the Q. All right, so the Q pulled right down into that support level I mentioned earlier. Worked its way back above this node. So again, same thing on the NQ. This should act as support now. This area around halfback, 16,564. Should act as support if they're going to continue up towards that all-time high. That overnight high. Cotton Dog, I wonder what they are doing at the CME and CBOT trading floors. They still use them. I don't really know what. I think it's more for show than anything else. But they're in the background on the news networks, Bloomberg and stuff. The Bulls are back in town. The Bulls are back. Harry, yeah, Bull Banner would have gone up a while ago. I just don't have them on this new computer. I have to make them again. I lost everything on my old hard drive. That's the most devastating part of this stupid coffee spill. The work I lost. But yes, bullish right now. If I had a banner, I'd put it up. Train Donkey, how old was the Mac? It was only like less than 2 years old. I'm getting it fixed, though. Fortunately, they have like a one fee you pay to fix no matter what's wrong with it if you spill on it, which only costs $1,400, which is a lot, I know. But the laptop costs like $6,000, so I'm happy to pay $1,400 to get it back. Cotton Dog, I don't know about the data yet. That's the mistake I made when I took it straight in as soon as I got into New York on Sunday night. I took it straight to Apple, and they were like, we just send it off to, the factory, and they repair it there. So if your hard drive is okay and it didn't get damaged, then your hard drive will be in there when you get the computer back, and you won't lose anything. But if it's not okay, they'll just take it out and replace it, and you'll lose everything. So they were like, do you want to take it to like a third party and see if they can recover the data first? And I was like, no, just send it off. And now I'm like, fuck, I should have had them pull the data first, but oh well. That's what my mom said. My mom said to tell my renter's insurance somebody broke into my apartment and stole it. But oh well. It was my mistake. Shouldn't have had coffee next to the laptop. Lesson learned. As I take a sip from my coffee right now. No, my renter's insurance doesn't cover accidents like that. I checked. Yeah, I mean, Rob, need cup with lid. Exactly. No, I have at home, I have the perfect setup. I have a cup with a lid, and my laptop is like up on like a platform. So I've spilled drinks many times, and it's never gotten on the laptop. It was just I was at home at my mom's place. All right, well, this poor high, I mean, this week all-time high is acting as a poor high now. We're getting some resistance here. But if we can push up through it, get those 2 ticks of excess, we should get some continuation to the upside. Halt. Yep, that's the other thing. And I knew better too. I knew I should always back up my stuff, and I didn't. So, only got myself to blame. Cotton dog. Yeah, I mean, we could look at it in 1 tick increments. Okay, yeah, so in 1 tick increments, it's a good high. You got good excess on that high. But I think I'm going to keep it in 2 tick increments, and I'm going to keep thinking about it in 2 tick, because I do think we still have 2 ticks worth of volatility here. And it just looks weak to me, the way it's exactly right at the level where the overnight made an all-time high. That's a sign of sellers piling on right there. So you got strong internals, internals that are holding somewhat bullish. You've got a target to the upside. You got a poor high that's in need of repair. So to me, looking to buy support in here is a very bullish move. As long as we stay above that 85 node down here that I mentioned earlier, I think any dip here is buyable to go repair that poor high. Okay, well, I stand corrected here. If we can't find support right now in this area, we'll be looking to pull back down into yesterday's range again. And that would be bearish on the short term as a look above and fail of yesterday's range. Cotton dog. Did I talk about the M period spike from yesterday? Looks like it could be coming into play. Yeah, I mean, I did not talk about the spike this morning, other than to point out that it is continuation of a bullish trend, right? Leaving behind the single prints in the F period and the B period yesterday, as well as creating that spike. Those are all just signs that we could be seeing continuation of the trend higher today, as well as the fact that value was completely higher yesterday. So all of that is very bullish. I will mention that area right around the base of the spike, which is 47.76. That there should be some support in there, as I was talking about earlier with the 45-degree angle on the low. So because we'd expect support in there, you know, the base of the spike lining up nicely with it increases the odds slightly we find some support. But again, if that fails, then the backfilling of these single prints comes into play. It still, to me, kind of feels like it wants to go higher. It wants to at least repair that poor high. But if I'm wrong and we start to pull back here, backfilling those single prints from yesterday to 47.6350 and then 47.47, you know, those are good targets to the downside for potential support. All right. Well, with the tick staying below the zero line there, I now think the market's going to pull back into yesterday's range. Like I said, there should be some support just beneath price here, down there somewhere between, say, 73 and 76. There should be some support. But if that breaks, we're looking for a larger pullback down to 63. And if not there, down to 47. Okay. Just couldn't bring in the buyers this morning. So now we're looking for this node that was support this morning, right here between 85 and 87. Does that now become resistance? The market can't get back above that opening price. That would be a sign it needs to pull back a little more. Two Maniffs, good morning to you. Welcome. Belated Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. All right, guys. Well, as I get ready to bid you all farewell and switch over to the private stream, I thought I should give you guys some insights moving forward today as to what to expect in the market. But it seems like a tricky moment. I would say a lot of the steam that I was seeing earlier, a lot of the bullishness seems to have kind of weaned itself out of the market. So this to me either feels like it's going rotational. So to say even if we get above the A period high, we'll likely just get a little bit of excess and then pull back in. It's starting to feel like it either wants to go sideways here at higher prices, or this is still the beginning of a little bit of a larger pullback into yesterday's range. We could be one time framing lower. If we can get the C period to break below the B period low. So it's a tough call here. It feels rotational to me, though. It doesn't feel like it wants to just trend higher or even have any kind of serious pullback. It feels like it just wants to kind of absorb yesterday's move by going sideways. But we shall have to wait and see. Can't be sure just yet. The value is higher. And the internals aren't really clear. So it could still trend, but I think we're going rotational. All right, so with that, I will bid you all farewell. Please smash that like button. Only 33 likes today. Only 86 people watching. If some of the 86 of you that haven't hit that thumbs up would be willing to, it'll bring in a few more friends tomorrow. And I'd sure appreciate that. So thank you guys once again, and I will see you here tomorrow morning. Have a great rest of your day.